Hey guys, I am fired up today to be talking with my good buddy from college, Madison, Wisconsin, Greg Mischio. Greg, thank you so much for jumping on and taking a few minutes.
You bet, Jordy. Just like old times, right? Remember we were doing podcasts back in college?
Yeah, right. So let me tell you a little bit about Greg. Greg, we met at University of Wisconsin. We worked together on our school's newspaper, and we stayed friendly through the years. And Greg now runs a business called Winbound, where he is a digital content marketing specialist working with companies all over the country. And the reason I wanted to have him on today is because Greg is, in my opinion, one of the best guys, I think, who knows how to use LinkedIn correctly. Really leverages this site, I think, to its fullest and better than really most people I've ever seen do this. The reason I say that is because he's a real active user, constantly posting. And it's sort of like the proof is in the pudding. Like you look at any of his old posts and you will see dozens of people commenting on what he's writing about. And that's not just chance, I'm sure. A lot of thought and a lot of hard work goes into that. And I thought that we could have a quick chat with Greg today to learn some of his strategies and how those can be applied to the job search for military veterans as you go about and interact with hiring managers and recruiters. LinkedIn is probably one of the best resources at your disposal. So, Greg, do you mind telling everyone a little bit about how you got started in this, your career? I know you started as a freelance writer and did a lot of interesting projects, but how did it lead to, your current Winbound and the work you're doing right now?
Sure. Thanks, Jordy. Yeah, absolutely. I'm happy to talk about LinkedIn. My background is as like you said, a copywriter. As the internet got bigger and bigger, this field called content marketing got bigger, where you're creating a lot of content to attract people to your website. Well, if you create content, that's great. That's one thing, but you got to get it out. You have to distribute it. And tools, things like social media are a great way to get content out. It's one of the channels. Others would be like search engine optimization, advertising. So that's all on the digital marketing side. So if you're talking about veterans who are trying to use LinkedIn as a networking tool to learn about companies and to make connections and check out new opportunities, I think it's fantastic. I mean, we use it to get the word out about our companies, our clients that we help, and share their content and network as well. And I think that's the point with LinkedIn that you really have to think about as you're going into it. It's a networking tool, and what you're using it for is to generate referrals. So in this case, if you're looking for jobs, you're trying to generate referrals for yourself and to learn about new opportunities that are out there. And the idea behind it is you just want to use the LinkedIn network to meet more people. Just think about it as a big networking event that you're going to. It's a little bit better in that it's not so awkward that you're going to have to go and meet somebody. Nobody likes going to big events to try and network with people you don't know. The built-in advantage with LinkedIn is that you can see somebody's profile, you can learn about them before you connect with them and request a connection, and you can comment on things that they've posted. So you can kind of see if it's somebody you really want to get to know.
Yeah, that's great advice. Talk about your overall strategy, which I have a feeling, I know what it is, which is you are very focused, right? You don't need to reach 1 million people with a post. You go really deep on very few people. Like you're posting something and you're tagging folks and you're giving real genuine feedback to stuff that you're sharing. And it's not the typical approach. Most people do the exact opposite. They're like, they don't put any thought into it. They just share it. They write something and then they send it out and get upset when nobody likes or comments.
Right. Yeah. You got to think about your market, who you're trying to reach. So we're trying to reach manufacturers and people in the industrial sector. And the thing we do a lot is share our expertise and share lessons that we've learned. We don't really necessarily promote ourselves as a resource. It's kind of like if you have a neighbor come over and your toilet's broken and they just tell you how to fix it, they're the expert, and the next time you've got a problem, you're going to go to them. It's the same thing. We're just trying to share solutions, tell people in the manufacturing space how to do your marketing, and how to get the word out. So that's our approach. And you're right. You mentioned 20 comments, 30 shares or 30 likes. That's okay for me. What I really am trying to do is get very specific to people in our sector. And when I see someone like my comments or like my posts, they're usually in my target market range. And then I'll go ahead and friend them or connect with them and try and make a one-on-one contact with them. And that's the thing that people forget about LinkedIn, is it's really what you're doing is you're shooting to get that one-on-one meeting with somebody. Right. And start the relationship offline. That's really the end goal. So right. I think for someone looking for a job or a position, if you're scouting out companies and you're looking for different opportunities, first you probably want to meet somebody who's familiar with the sector, familiar with the opportunities that are out there. And then maybe you want to meet somebody in the company and get an informational interview with them or learn about what they're trying to do. And the best way to do that is through LinkedIn.
Right. You brought up a good point of the sort of that one-on-one connection. I think people lose sight of on these social networks. They don't realize it's me talking to you on LinkedIn. It's not, you're not posting something for, 100,000 people to respond to you. That's not the goal.
I guess the goal for me is to get some content out there. If I get 100,000 manufacturers that will share it, that's great. But I think it's the follow-up that counts. So I always, we do one-on-one training. When we do it with our clients, we've tried the approach where we'll sit down with them and do a hour-long PowerPoint, and here's all the stuff you can do, and you can just see the eyes glaze over after the first 10 minutes. We do hands-on. We get on their site and we have them meet people and post their own content. We show them how to tag people and really get in a flow, in a consistent flow of posting content every day, one piece of content every day, 3 comments every day, 2 invites. That's really our formula. And it's pretty random, but the thing is, it makes you do it every day. And that's me with LinkedIn. So it's the content is there to get as many eyeballs, but then it's the follow-up that really counts in making those connections off of that.
It's everything. And if anyone looks at any of Greg's posts, I'll put them in the comments of this. You'll see anytime anyone engages with them, you'll always see a comment back from Greg, even if it's just thanks, Jordy. That's it, and talk about how important that is. Somebody takes the time to watch your video or read your article, they write a little something or other back to you. So often you see on LinkedIn, and I'm guilty of this too, is people comment and then they don't hear from me saying thank you for that.
Yeah, I mean, Stephen King said it best. You owe your readers quite a bit of a debt of gratitude. You owe them a lot for taking time out of their really busy lives and to just say something and engage with you on LinkedIn. So yeah, I'm always kind of honored when somebody does that. I'm like, wow, that's a huge compliment. And the other thing I wanted to tell you too, the big secret, I don't know if it's such a secret, but the way I approach LinkedIn is really not about me. It's about being a go-giver and paying it forward. So I just put up a post today about a guy named John King, who I just met him. We connected. We knew a mutual friend. He's in the manufacturing sector. And he sells software for CAD computer-aided design software. And I really didn't know much about the sector. And we started chatting, and he just spent time in explaining to me how the whole thing worked. Well, I put up a post today. I shared everything what he told me. I tagged him and I put his picture up there. And I said, this is a great salesperson, because he didn't know me. He took the time to explain something to me. And the result is some complete strangers put his face up and told his story to his whole business network.
Wow. Yeah.
The goal with that is to pay it forward to him now. Now he, you know, I'm not asking for anything in return. I mean, it felt good to do it. Like, I hope he gets a lead off of it. But, you know, somewhere down the line, he's going to run into somebody and he's going to remember, you know, Greg Mischio put that thing up. And
yeah, no, that's awesome. That is the way marketing should be done, whether you're doing it for a business like Greg is doing, or whether you're doing to build your brand and your network in the job search world. But the underlying theme here is it's so genuine what you're doing. You're not trying to bullshit people. You're not trying to be sleazy or slick or, you know, doing it for a reason. Just like you did that solid for that guy King, you didn't end it with, hey, by the way, if any of you out there want a great service, contact me at Win Marketing. You know, that's the beauty of that. It's just, you didn't expect anything back in return. But when it comes to it and he needs to recommend a marketing consultant, I guarantee you're going to be the first person on his list, you know?
Well, I will tell you this, Jordy, along those lines. I mean, the last 2 months, every new client that we brought on has been a referral. And cold calling clients, I mean, I've got cold calling clients who are sitting in my referral pipeline that have been there well over a year. The referral, you know, that's a month and a half close, you know? So that's the whole goal of this, is to generate your network of referrals. So when you get somebody, you know, the iron's hot and you're ready to strike.
What percentage of your business would you say is a result of doing the stuff you're doing on LinkedIn and other networks? Or percent of the referrals that you're getting? Like, is this the majority of your outreach?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're in a really competitive space in terms of content marketing. And so in terms of, and we're building up our own advertising, you know, doing some tactics like that. But getting ranked on Google is really tough for us, because you're going up against other content marketers. So it's really a tough space. So we do have to rely on this kind of heavily in terms of networking. But, you know, that's how we use our content. It's not just me cold calling people or just meeting people on LinkedIn. I use my content to share my expertise and then link up with people.
Yeah.
But
I like you make the investment every day. You say, whatever, I'm going to spend an hour, 2 hours. And this is in exchange of me like spending thousands of dollars running advertisements or pay-per-clicks. I'm going to do it this way. It's sort of grinding it out every day. But hey, if at the end of a day, something you've done has generated goodwill and generate a referral, and that might lead to business for you in the long, you know, a few months later or whatever, that's a good use of time.
So are your listeners looking for LinkedIn to make connections to?
Yeah, let's do this. I'm just thinking this off the top of my head. All right, let's put yourself now, you're a consultant to a military veteran who is looking for a new job, right? He's working some job he hates. He wants to either, let's say, make a career pivot. He wants to go from, you know, being a truck driver to working in cybersecurity. So what would you recommend to him what would you recommend to this guy to start promoting himself and his brand? Should he go right after people and say, hey, you guys hiring? Or what would be a smarter way to start reaching out to people?
I think, I guess I'd answer that with one word: it's community. Find a community of people and who are kind of in the line of work that you're in or in the field that you're in, and really try and make connections with them. So if you're trying to pivot into the cybersecurity world, I think more often than not, you'll find that a lot of people who are on LinkedIn, who are cybersecurity people and talking about and putting content out there, they want to share their knowledge and they want to help you out. So I would be looking for people who are sharing content about cybersecurity, consultants in the field, make contact with that. I mean, we, for our company, make contact with all types of people in the manufacturing space, whether they're engineers, operations, management,
Yeah.
HR,
So
it
you
doesn't
never know.
matter.
Right.
Yeah, because you want to know everybody who's working in the field. So I would try and get into that community. I guarantee that there is somebody out there, like if you're the truck driver and you want to get into cybersecurity, do a search on LinkedIn, see who's writing about stuff. And then you can also look up companies that are in your area that you think are good. Once you start to find out who they are, and connect with some of those people in there and ask them if they just got 20 minutes
Yeah.
to jump on a call and talk a little bit about it,
Right.
and it's the old, I mean, back when we were back in the log cabin days when you and I were kids, that's what it used to be, is like strike that informational interview. And that's really what you're kind of
powerful. Right. It's sort of like you and I, but neither of us served, but I guarantee you, if someone reached out to you and said, whether a veteran, say a veteran reached out to you, say, hey, Greg, I served in the Army and I really want to get into content marketing, or, can you spare 5 minutes to, share some of your stories and tell me, I'd love to hear your advice. I loved your article you wrote last week on Mr. King. You're going to spend 5 minutes with a guy like that. It's like you're sort of flattered, right?
Oh, hell yeah. And I mean, Jordy, we talked before about how veterans, the one thing that they really struggle with is marketing themselves, because they're humble people. They sacrifice, incredible amounts for their country, and just, they're not used to putting themselves out there and putting themselves forward. You can do that on LinkedIn. You can share yourself and your story and help other people in the same token. But you can put yourself out there, and you can put your profile and let people know what you've done, and be proud of that. I mean, and the other thing in terms of people helping you, I mean, think about it this way. If you're a veteran, there's no one else in this country that can get a standing ovation at a sporting event when your name is called.
All right.
We love our troops. We support our troops. And, people want to help you guys, and men and women, because of all you've done for our country. And we will bend over backwards. If you hear this, you have questions, connect with me on LinkedIn, and you want to talk, I will talk with you.
That's awesome. Thing. You brought up something that I never thought of in this, and I love it, which is you're out there looking for a job. Don't just think about yourself selfishly. Help guys coming behind you. There are other people going through the same thing. Say, hey, let's do this together. What can I do to help? Here's some ideas that I've done. And that I love that a lot. That whole giving back. That's such a big part of the veteran mindset, and paying it forward. And I think it's like you said, you never know who's gonna see something you've wrote and who's going to introduce you to someone. Don't discriminate. Just put yourself out there, Yeah.
And I think it's tough too. I mean, one thing I think that people would really appreciate hearing and should hear is the struggles that a lot of our troops go through when they come back.
Yeah.
I don't think this is an easy road for anybody once you come back from duty, and especially entering the workforce. And if you put yourself out there, not to gain any kind of sympathy or make people feel sorry for you, but tell them what you're up against, and what, as a veteran, let people know you're looking for some help and some advice, and tell them how, if you are running into a wall, just share that. And that's the thing about LinkedIn is, I go on LinkedIn and I ask people questions about my industry and my craft. That's what it's there for. It's for everybody who's on there. It's not to sell each other, it's to support each other.
Right.
So use it, get advice from everybody. I do it. I mean, I learn a lot of stuff on LinkedIn. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Greg, I can't thank you enough, man. This has been so valuable to me, and I know it's going to help a lot of veterans out there. I truly appreciate you taking time to share some of your your favorite tips and strategies. And I really encourage people to check out, just go read some of Greg's posts that he's done and just copy the strategies that he's using, the way he tags people, the way he comments to anyone who engages, the way that he writes really interesting, like how-to types content, right? It's not salesy, it's just real genuine and honest. So thank you again for taking some time today.
Oh, sure. But just one other thing too, I do have a post on kind of a lot of things I've talked about. So I don't know if you...
Yeah, send it over. I'll tag it or whatever. I got to learn from you how to put that in there. I'll get it in.
Yeah, that's
all right, buddy. Go Badgers.
Yeah, you bet.